Vikings, it's happening! The Call to Arms update just landed on the public test realm. And wow, there's a lot packed in. I've already tested quite a bit today, and in this video I'll give you a quick rundown and share my impressions. And if you want to try the PTR yourself, you will find a step-by-step guide in the description for PC and Steam players. But before we dive in, this video obviously contains spoilers. I figured since every big Valheim creator already showed the bears, I'm not doing too much harm by using them in the thumbnail. But other than that, if you'd rather explore everything yourself, I totally get it. Maybe come back later and compare your impressions with mine. Overview. Based on the last Q&A, I'd say the devs definitely underpromised and overdelivered, which is always a smarter move. This update is huge. You've probably already seen the patch notes or watched other creators go through them in detail, so I'm not doing that. Instead, I'll share what I've actually been able to test so far, what feels different in-game, and a few first impressions that might help you decide what to try first once you jump in. Let's start with combat. Combat changes. Combat for sure feels different. Not like everything flipped upside down, but smoother, tighter and more responsive. A few things stood out for me. Perfect blocks no longer drain stamina. Finally, blocking feels much more viable again, as long as your timing is right and your armor is heavy enough. In light armor you still get staggered by big hits, so it's not a free pass. But overall, this feels like a good rebalance between dodging and blocking. Battle axes, sledges and tower shields now carry less of a movement penalty. Combined with the new axes and the fact that bears seem weaker to slash damage, that's a smart change. As for slope fighting, the patch notes say it's improved. Maybe? Honestly, I didn't feel a huge difference in my tests. One more thing I noticed. Dodging, blocking and attacking feel like the timing windows may have shifted a little. With faster weapons, I sometimes couldn't dodge or block in time after finishing a combo. Could just be me or could be under the hood changes. I'll keep testing. And yes, I still miss swings for other reasons. Let's not talk about it. On the bright side, there are 80 new wooden weapons, not just decoration. These are proper training tools, perfect for sparring, experimenting or bonking your friends without sending them to Valhalla. And to go along with those, we now have two new training objects. The archery target for practicing ranged skills and the training dummy for melee and even spell casting. It's indestructible, so go ahead and hit it as hard as you like. To set up your very own training ground, you'll need access to Finewood Bronze and the new drop Ectoplasm, which comes from the redesigned ghosts you'll find in Black Forest crypts. Both objects are great additions if you want to sharpen your dodging and blocking skills, level up a new weapon skill before heading out, or just have some fun experimenting. And oh, there's a brand new training ground location in the meadows. It seems to be very rare. I haven't found one myself yet, so I can't say much more. But from what I've seen, it fits perfectly into the whole sparring and learning theme. If you've already found one, let me know. I'm curious. Trinkets and adrenaline. Now, trinkets. They unlock as soon as you can gather the materials, which means in a new playthrough you'll probably first craft the health regeneration or stamina regeneration trinkets, using materials from the Black Forest. And here's how they work. You've now got an adrenaline bar right under your stamina bar. You fill it up by fighting, landing hits, perfect blocks, dodging and so on. When it fills, your trinket activates its perk. Each trinket has a unique effect, and many of them support specific playstyles. Piercing, slashing, bows, blocking, dodging, you name it. One example is the Fins of Destiny trinket, which boosts swimming. That made me wonder, do we get water combat at some point? Because otherwise that's a bit niche. New enemies and loot. There are also two new enemies, both bears. The first one shows up early in the Black Forest, and oh boy, it's tough. The trailer wasn't exaggerating. One mistake and you're done. Fighting it with starter weapons felt like a boss fight that just wouldn't end. And if you add a troll and a few grey dwarfs into the mix, yeah, good luck. Best tactic early on is probably just to run. They do seem a little less aware though, so avoiding them might be easier than dodging other mobs. And no, you can't tame it, sad face. But honestly, it's so wild that it would have been weird if you could. Their combat animations felt a little bit off at times, especially on uneven ground or with obstacles. They often missed attacks. Lucky for us, it makes surviving easier. Oh, and they can smash down trees and boulders. Just don't expect them to help you mine copper. Falling trees are your problem. The second bear is a vile, corrupted version you meet in the plains. Both drop new materials which are used for new armor and food. I'm not sure yet about their spawn rate or if they only appear at night. I've only run into one so far, so that definitely needs more testing. What I did find out though is that they'll fight other creatures. I've seen them go up against skeletons, fuelings and even loxes. So if your gear is still on the lighter side, you might want to lure a while toward the Lox family next door and let them help you even the odds. Speaking of the gear, the Black Forest bear armor gives you a trade-off, more health regen and damage, but also more damage taken. Perfect for aggressive fighters who train hard and play smart. And I love that it introduced fists weapons early. Maybe now the unarmed playstyle won't be the one we all keep skipping. Blob Potions. Now, about these Blob Potions. I expected a throw or buff effect. Nope. They actually spawn a blob, and sometimes that blob fights you instead of your enemies. So yeah, careful when you throw it. I haven't tested all the possibilities yet, but I will, and I'll let you know the use cases I find. Some of my favorite changes are the small ones. You can now rotate some items on stands, and others have changed their orientation. For example, the puffer and anglerfish. The pufferfish looks ridiculously cute, while the anglerfish is creepy, as it should be. They also fixed one of my personal pet peeves. You now have to hold E to remove something from an item stand. No more accidentally ripping your IKEA trophy off the wall when you just wanted to open the door. The golem trophy now has two orientations, upright or laying down. Builders will love that. The game engine got updated, but performance-wise, Ashland still lag for me, but otherwise the game stays stable. And of course, Forsaken powers have been rebalanced. The Elder, for example, now has a mining boost baked into his power, which is super handy. Bone Mass got toned down a bit. It was pretty overpowered before, but they added a new effect to balance it out, so it's still useful. I'll be testing all the powers one by one and let you know how they feel in practice. Some critique. Overall, I love this update. It makes me want to finish all my playthroughs, which are some, or even maybe start a new one. But, and there's always a but, here's my gripe. With every patch adding more trinkets, potions, meats and utility items, inventory space is becoming a real pain. Managing your loadout is fine, that's part of the game, but at the moment it feels more tedious than tactical. I loved one suggestion from the community. Let the Bogwitch sell us an expensive bag upgrade just for meats and potions. That way it's balanced but also lets us actually use everything the game offers without spending half the session playing inventory Tetris. Just my 2 copper. So that's the Call to Arms PTR update, or at least everything I've managed to test so far. What are you most excited about? The trinkets, the Forsaken power changes, or are you just here to slap a beer? I'll be testing more live and might publish some deep dives soon, especially around combat and progression. And if you want to see how all this compares to what the devs promised back in July, watch this video next. Skål, and I see you in the Black Forest, probably running from a bear.